Hello you! As some of you might know, my ultimate goal for this channel is to bring you quality research videos on a weekly basis. I'm slowly getting to that goal, but I would like to introduce to you Dan Ibbertson. You might know him as the guy who edits some of my Fact Hunt series, so his style is already familiar, but he does such an amazing job with his own retrospectives, I thought you might like to check them out too. Enjoy!
Every day you brush your teeth. It's a chore. It's one that makes you feel healthy, hygienic, and clean, but a chore nonetheless. We think it can be more. Much more.
Why wait an hour just to wait in line at Starbucks? Our caffeinated toothpaste works as you brush. The caffeine absorbs through your mouth directly into your body, and you'll feel the effects instantaneously.
Welcome to Kickstarter! Hey guys, do you want caffeinated toothpaste? How about your fish getting some new nice wheels? Well, now with Kickstarter you can do all of this and more. Okay, so Kickstarter is a site that is in essence made for people that are into those infomercials where they sell crap that isn't good enough to be sold in shops. The only difference is, someone out there thought this was actually good. Well, good enough to have some money put behind it to be advertised anyway. Now, Kickstarter is a site where people don't need to deal with that first hurdle of acceptance and approval before going ahead. With Kickstarter, if you have a project, you don't have to put any money into it whatsoever. Just tell your potential customers what they will be getting and hopefully it all turns out alright. However, I'm painting a pretty dank picture here. Surely there is absolutely no guarantee that you'll get your reward on time, or even at all. In fact, reports indicate that when it comes down to gaming, which is obviously what we're going to be talking about here today, only a third deliver on their promise. And you know what? They're pretty much right. I've backed quite a few things on Kickstarter myself, and almost all of them are video games or board games. And in the video game arena, so far I've got two games. The Adventures of Pip on the Wii U, which is pretty good in my opinion and stands true to its Kickstarter promise, and Wolf the Red Hood Diaries, a game that was so badly panned due to its stiff controls and extremely short gameplay length that the company ended up going under, with a pretty sad game over update post written by the main guy of the studio. Which is crazy because if you ask me, the game is really not that bad at all. But anyway, the way Kickstarter works is the person making the project slaps down how much they think their project will cost to develop, slap down a few rewards that we, the public, will hopefully one day get, and after a short time limit of about 1 or 2 months, if they reach their goal, we get charged and they get the money. If they don't hit the target, then they get nothing. Which brings us to what today's video is all about. I'm DJ Slope from Slope's Game Room, and these are the top 10 Kickstarter games that didn't hit target. Number 10. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and think to yourself, does my mascot really have enough of a cult following to warrant a Kickstarter? And unfortunately, your dreams will probably become shattered when you realise the answer is more than likely a big fat no. Boogerman HD is sadly one of the few instances on this list that falls victim to this.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris Trimmel. And I'm Mike Strachey. In 1994, while working for Interplay Productions, Mike and I made a game on the Sega Genesis called Boogerman, a pick-and-flick adventure.
Asking for $375,000 and falling short by only raising $40,252 from 1,034 backers. The idea was to not just make an HD remake of the old school Mega Drive game, but instead to take the concept characters and weld and bring it up to date for new consoles and of course in glorious HD. Now if you ask me, I would have loved for this game to happen. You can never give me enough good 2D platformers, and Boogerman is sort of an alright 6 out of 10 game for the Mega Drive. If you ask me, that's the problem. Games like Boogerman and the previously mentioned Global Gladiators sure have a nice group of fans that played them back in the day, but if you ask me, most of those people are just holding on to a memory, because if you play these games now, they just seem, well, a little bit bland. Nice mechanics, graphics, music and a cool first level, but honestly, not much else. Compare something like this to something like this, which if you ask me was trying to sort of capture the same market, and then you realise how some games just don't stand the test of time. But with all that said, I would have still loved for this to happen. I'm a sucker for good 2D platformers, and I honestly believe with the right amount of fan feedback and a great team behind Boogerman HD, something truly special could have happened here. Plus, if you back $20, you could actually play as Earthworm Jim. Colour me sold. Number 9. Okay, so let me set something straight right away. If I saw a motion controlled kung fu game in the shops, I wouldn't waste my time or money. And honestly, something like Kung Fu Superstar, a game in which the character 100% mimics your movements on screen, just doesn't seem deep enough of an experience for me. Plus, it probably wouldn't work. However, that doesn't mean I don't want to at least try it, to see how well it actually does work compared to the incredibly well produced promo video. Curiosity is getting the better of me here with Kung Fu Superstar, the failed Kickstarter that was asking for 200,000 quid, but walked away empty-handed after getting only 94,010 from 534 backers. But I really want to try it, and to play it is really the key thing. I just want to try this game out. I personally would never actually want to own this sort of thing, but I do have an interest in technology and new innovative concepts, and it's because of this reason alone that makes me feel sad for Kung Fu Superstar. Plus, chuck a cool $5 and you can actually become a director of the game. What's crazier is 5 people actually did this. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, they even managed to get hold of Peter Molyneux from Microsoft.
I first heard about Kung Fu Superstars when I was working at Microsoft, and one day Costas came in and he showed me this demo that he had done in his spare time, and the incredible enthusiasm and passion he had for what he was trying to do was to just bowl me over. It was an incredible demo. An incredibly ambitious idea, and something which I couldn't help getting really into.
Still, fair play for your efforts, mate. Number 8. Who likes classic Sega games? Who likes classic Sega histories? Then you're probably very aware of Night Trap, one of the biggest moments in gaming back in the day, where the game was apparently so graphic and influential to, well, influential kids that it helped bring in the video game rating system. But that's a story for another time.
Night Trap, which is a game set in a sorority house. The object is to keep hooded men from hanging the young woman from a hook or drilling their necks with a tool designed to drain their blood. Night Trap uses actual actors and achieves an unprecedented level of realism.
Now, I have the original Night Trap. I collect games for the Mega CD, and even though the game has some insane flaws, I really wanted Night Trap revamped to happen.
Control, help me! You gotta help me, please! Use the trap!
The game was after $330,000, but was only able to get $39,843 from 664 backers. I was one of them. It's such a shame. This should have done really well, but, well, it didn't. Want to find out how not to do a Kickstarter campaign? Then this page is the way to go. Not really going into detail about how the game will actually be developed, or even what consoles it will be released for, is probably the biggest mistake you're going to be making. The video for the project raised more questions than it answered. We didn't even know who was making the game. And with the release of the PlayStation 4, Wii U and Xbox One, well, it wasn't coming out on any of those. So I suppose what you could say was that the project was destined to fail since day one. However, that didn't stop the fact that I really wanted it to happen. Oh yeah, and if you want a little bit more behind the scenes of Night Trap, then go and check out mine and the rest of the Retro on Limb crew's live podcast with Giovanni Lem, aka Cousin Tony from the games. Links in the description. Number 7. I'm not just a video gamer. Nope, I'm also a board gamer. I don't wear ears or anything, but I do love a good board game like Carcassonne, Ticket to Ride, Caverna, Settlers of Catan and loads of others. In fact, I've even backed a few board games myself on Kickstarter. Which brings me to my number 7 choice, Alpha Colony. A game that had the strapline, if you enjoyed Civilization, Words with Friends, Settlers of Catan or Mule, you'll love Alpha Colony. Now I didn't know of this game when it was live unfortunately, so I didn't back it. If I did, I probably would have gone for the 30,000 early bird explorer option, which is a massive shame, because this game's goal was 50,000. But unfortunately the 542 backers that did back the game only got the funding up to $49,972. A mere $28 away from completion. Even with that extremely close end amount, they walked away with nothing. Nothing but a big fat $60,000 hole that the game had cost up to this point. And I can't help feel responsible, because if I found out about this game, having just one more person as a backer, they would have hit their goal. Alpha Colony is the first instance in my opinion where the Kickstarter pretty much got everything right, but unfortunately just not enough marketing.
Please, please help fund my daddy's game.
Number 6. Ask anyone that has a GameCube about what one of the best exclusive games are for the system, and it's probably quite likely that Eternal Darkness is going to be quite high up on that list. Another typical horror game, this game is not. Eternal Darkness, or should I say Eternal Darkness Sanity's Requiem, which is the full title for the game, actually does mess with your sanity. Spoiler alert for this one, guys. Doing things to you to make you think something is actually going wrong with your disc. It's because of moments like this that really do make the game stand out and get that cult following it deserves. However, even though that the movie based on the game has been in talks for what seems like forever, we never got to see a continuation of the game at all. All hail Kickstarter. Here it is, Shadow of the Eternals, the spiritual successor to Eternal Darkness, asking for a wafty $750,000 and ending up on $323,950 from 5,932 backers. Sure, the numbers are quite staggering, but it just seems that this game was asking for just way too much. The game, similar to the gameplay style as before, was supposed to have the voice actor of Solid Snake taking the helm, as the main protagonist had quite a lot going for it. The idea was to understand the difference between two people telling conflict stories that actually ends up taking you back hundreds or thousands of years to some pretty dank and dark places, might I add. The game had serious promise, but sadly it was just not meant to be. And by the way, if you've not played this, do it now. It's a gaming experience that will never be forgotten. Number 5. As much as I love me some good old school games, I gotta admit that a good RTS is right up my street too. And although I may not play as many of these games as I would like, the games I have played I adore. And my personal favourites in the genre, apart from the old classics, I cannot even begin to tell you the amount of hours I have pumped into games like this, playing online and LANing with my mates all the way through the night. So when I heard that Gas Powered Games had a Kickstarter, I was all over it. Wildman was asking for a mega $1,100,000, and for the first time on this list was actually ended early by the company, as it was obvious they was not going to hit target at only $504,120 by 9,235 people. Now what makes this game unique compared to others is the twist of an action RPG theme in an RTS world. Building up your caveman after exploring the fog-filled world, defeating bases to uncover caves which hold random cool upgrades for your character and army, steal the technology of your fallen foes and become the ultimate Wildman. Everything I just said is seriously salivating to someone like me, and I would have loved to hear about the development of the game during its production. However, sadly, it never happened. And Gas Powered Games, the guys behind the greatest RTS games of all time, apart from this, are no more. Number 4. Bioshock? Just another FPS shooter? It is not. Holding a Metacritic score of 96 and believed by some to be one of the very best story-driven games of this generation, peeps just can't get enough of the crazy underwater world and strange powers. In other words, it's pretty good. But even with the crazy amount of fans out there, sadly, there just didn't seem to be enough of them that wanted to help the Black Glove get off the ground. And here is the Black Glove, backed by 5,961 backers, raising $216,517 of a $550,000 target. An eerie, surrealistic first-person game experience by an independent team of developers who helped make Bioshock Infinite and Bioshock. The video had stuff going on like this. Just look at it. If you know anything about these games, then you can see what they're going for. So, what the hell went wrong? Well, looking at one of the Kickstarter's final updates, it reads that design legend Paul Niarov said to us recently, "In my experience, good ideas don't have expiration dates." Hopefully that is true. However, looking further down the post, you'll see that most of the team have dispatched to different full-time roles. So it's very highly doubtful that we will ever see anything more. The game has some serious charm that anyone that is interested in good story-driven games would get a kick out of. Maybe not something to play with your headphones on though. Number 3. Oh Zombie? No, not the Bin Laden zombie horror movie, but instead Oz Zombie. A game set in the world of Oz, where Dorothy's great-great-granddaughter joins forces with Tin Woodman and Lion to battle Scarecrow's mindless army for control of Oz. Sounds great, right? Well, it gets even better when you realise the creator has also made these games, American McGee. Sadly, the game was cancelled early due to its ambitious target of 950,000 obviously not going to be hit, and therefore only reaching $141,513 by 2,607 backers. Annoyingly, the Kickstarter video for the campaign, the most important part of any Kickstarter page, did not show much of the game at all, and in fact didn't even show concept art until you're about 4.5 minutes into it. Everything else you see up to this point are these pantomime looking doofuses kidnapping American, kicking off that the new Alice game isn't being made, and trying to open a box with hilarious slapstick results. Either way, when these divs are not taking up the majority of the Kickstarter video, American talks us through what Oz Zombie could have become. An absolute graphical, gorgeous storytelling masterpiece, similar to the styles of Alice obviously, but set in one of the greatest fairy tales of all time, The Wizard of Oz. The concept drawings shown here are seriously jaw-dropping, and alone are worth visiting the Kickstarter page for. However, sadly, I think the goal was definitely too high. The video that helped push the campaign did not show enough or hardly anything for that matter of what could have been, and sadly, it pains me to say this, but I don't think there were as many hardcore fans of the series as Mr. McGee, and myself to be honest, thought there was. This is one of those times when we don't really have much to go on, and just like the classic games of old, we have to use our imagination to what could have become Oz Zombie. Number 2. So here we go, the final game on this list that was already a franchise, but unfortunately, again, not large enough fan base. This one really hurts. Dizzy returns.
Hi, I'm Philip Oliver. And I'm Andrew Oliver. Together, we're the Oliver Twins, the creators of Dizzy, a hugely successful game series from the 80s.
Keep an eye on my channel as I will, hopefully before the year is out, cover the complete history of Dizzy, where I talk about my absolute love for the character in my early years as a gamer. Asking for £350,000 and getting only £25,620 from 839 backers. This is without a doubt the biggest case of just not enough fans / people knowing about it. And also, the game was only in pre-development. In other words, just like the last Kickstarter video, all we got was concepts of what the Oliver Twins wanted the game to look like. No early game footage whatsoever. And as we've learned several times on this list already, coming to the table with simply drawings and that nostalgic flair, sadly 9 times out of 10, it's just not enough. That is unless you're pumping out a new Castlevania. To this day, the character is beloved by many and is arguably one of the most important mascots of the home computer boom found here in the UK. I seriously hope that one day we will get to see more from Dizzy. And thankfully, the story of the Oliver Twins Kickstarter that happened more recently was successful. Number 1. Here it is, guys, the number 1 game that I am most gutted about them not hitting target. You may be slightly shocked at my DJ Slope, that YouTuber that's into retro gaming's number 1 choice. So allow me to explain. As a kid with my Gateway 2000 PC, the main style of games I played were games like Worms and Worms Reinforcements, Theme Hospital, Railroad Tycoon, Theme Park, and the odd RTS game like I mentioned earlier. However, that was where my love for real-time strategy games ended for many years. Until a mate forced me to come along to one of his LAN parties, I booted up my PC, installed Supreme Commander, and wow! This game, with its expansion, quickly started moving its way up my all-time favourite list. I was obsessed, and I played this, the follow-up Demigod, and even had some great times with that too. And let's not forget the successful Kickstarter game Planetary Annihilation. However, Uber Entertainment needed to make something brand new, because after you make a game set in space, well, there really is nowhere else to go. Here we have Human Resources. Just like the last game they did, the Kickstarter video doesn't actually show gameplay footage, but instead it shows what they planned for it to look like in this beautiful FMV cutscene, which hopefully, just like the last game they did, what they eventually give you will end up looking as good as this trailer, completely matching your expectations. Instead of harvesting resources, you are harvesting humans, and if that's not cool enough, is taking the best of my favourite RTS games and putting it in this crazy apocalypse style, anime style sci-fi game. But because it's on this list, not only was it not funded, cancelling the Kickstarter early with 9,326 backers, raising only 384,358 of the crazy high $1,400,000 goal that Uber Entertainment put for this project. And sadly, it's unlikely that it will ever be made, and that makes Slope sad. Here is hoping that something new comes from the guys from Uber Entertainment, because if this game and the look of this game is anything to go by, we'll be in for a wild ride. So there you have it, guys, 10 games that are very likely never going to be made. Fingers crossed that something comes from these brilliant concepts and the people that made them. Do you agree with my list? Let me know in the comments below of any that you think I may have missed. Oh, and by the way, the links for all of these dead but not forgotten projects can be found in the description box. Now, let's all pray to the game gods that this will be one of those games in the 33% that actually delivers on its expectations. Hey there guys, whether you watch this on Larry Bundy Jr.'s channel or my own Slopes Game Room channel, I just want to say a big thanks for checking out the video. I've got a couple of links there for you to click on from both channels, so make sure you subscribe to the one that you haven't already. And if you want to be extra awesome, come and check us out over on Patreon. A big thanks to Larry Bundy Jr. for hosting my latest video, but for now, that's it from me. This is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully, I'll see you all next time.